Okay, so the first trimester, you found out you're pregnant. Yay! It's very exciting, but something that happens to a lot of women is you get overwhelmed by all of the to-dos. And one of the to-dos is figuring out what the heck you need to do. And I remember having a moment of panic, thinking, holy crap, I have no idea what I'm doing. I don't know what I need to be doing. I was paralyzed for a couple days. So I thought I'd help you out with some of the to-dos that I found really helpful. You know, I think it's important for every woman to kind of step back and do some soul searching about what is important to her and, you know, tackle those things. But hopefully this list will get you on the right track. So first and foremost, finding a care provider. A lot of women assume that they just have to go to their OB, you know, the person that's been giving you PAPs for the past 10 years or whatever. That's what I did. I didn't really know that I had another choice, which seems so silly now, but I just assumed that's what I needed to do. And she was fine, but looking back, I probably would have made a different choice. And I wish somebody would have told me to go and interview different options. So I would recommend just kind of considering what it is you want. You know, is your instinct telling you that you'd like to be in the hospital and you'd like to have an OBGYN? Is your instinct telling you you want to be at a birth center? Do you want to have a home birth with a midwife? Just kind of starting to think about who you want to be with, and then starting to look at your options, asking friends and family members, and then actually going and interviewing a few different options to see who you click with. For most women, you don't really need to have your first prenatal appointment until like around week 9 or 10 of gestation. Of course, a lot of women like to go in earlier. I'm recording this in the time of COVID-19. I am in isolation with my family right now, and most care providers right now are not doing any prenatal appointments during the first trimester. So that shows it's not absolutely essential unless you have, you know, a special circumstance, but I digress. So figuring out what type of care provider you want, interviewing some care providers, and then deciding who you want, knowing of course that you can always change. I've had moms that switched care providers a week before their baby was due. So you're not like signing some ironclad contract or something. You can change later, but that's a really important to do. Okay, researching your health coverage. So looking into your health insurance and figuring out, okay, what's covered. If I did want a midwife, would they pay for that? What type of midwife would they pay for? If you want an OB, what OBs accept your insurance? Just really digging into those options, looking to see what your deductible is, how much prenatal care your insurance covers. If you're kind of confused by this, you know, as big of a pain in the butt as this is, calling the insurance company and, you know, talking to somebody. I know this is like the last thing most women want to do. I hated dealing with insurance stuff when I was pregnant, but it's one of those tasks that once you check it off, you feel so much better. You have so much more clarity. Doing this research could potentially save you thousands of dollars. If I would have done more research on this, I would have found that when I was pregnant with my son, I qualified for completely free insurance that my doctor took. I could have paid $0 for all my prenatal care to have him in the hospital. Instead, I paid $3,500 because I didn't do this research. So do as I say, not as I did. Okay, if you are on different meds, say you have anxiety, for example, clinical depression, a lot of women stay on certain meds during pregnancy. So don't think that you absolutely just have to immediately get off all of your medications, which is definitely not recommended. You don't want to go cold turkey on anything, but it is a great question to ask a care provider. So if you still have not found like the one special care provider, that's fine. Go ahead and go to your primary care physician, let them know you're pregnant, let them know the medications that you're on, and ask them what's safe, what isn't safe, and create a plan with them for your medications moving forward. Okay, and the next thing to do is to start cutting down on your caffeine intake. If you're somebody that really likes, you know, coffee, caffeinated tea, while some people say cut out all caffeine during pregnancy, which is a choice, Studies have shown that having up to 200 milligrams of caffeine a day is safe. So that's about 1 11-ounce cup of coffee. Do what you feel most comfortable with. If you feel like, I'm not sure about that, then go ahead and taper off of caffeine, having a little bit less each day and then going to like half calf, so half decaf, half caffeinated, and just weaning yourself off, knowing that you might have some withdrawal headaches as you do this. Just drink lots of water, be ready to take lots of naps as you wean yourself off of caffeine. Okay, my favorite to do, make lists. So when I was talking about being totally paralyzed by all of the to-dos, the one thing that made me feel better is making to-do lists. I'm a little anal retentive, and so this is one of my all-time favorite activities, but it's really helpful regardless of how organized you are. So making lists of to-dos, you can break it down into categories, to-dos with your home, with your relationship, with your job, baby-specific to-dos. Write down everything that you can think of that you need to do. You can, of course, do research online, utilize this video for some of the to-dos. But then after you make those lists, remember that it does not all have to get done right now. Spread it out over the next 9 months, figuring out the things that you think you should do right now and the second trimester and the third trimester, just taking a deep breath and again, realizing that it does not all have to get done right now. You have time. All right, the next thing that I think is really helpful in the first trimester is to start considering what you would like your work life to look like after baby is born. You might be in a situation where you're between a rock and a hard place and you really don't have any control over what your work life looks like, but say you work from home or you've already been considering a career switch, just do some soul searching with your job. And I get some women after they have the baby, everything changes and they're like, oh my God, I thought I'd be fine going back to work and now I absolutely can't. Some women really want to go back to work after they have the baby. So as you make this plan, knowing that things might change, but as of right now, how do you feel about your job? How is that going to look after baby's born? Do they have a really amazing maternity leave policy? Do you get next to none? Figure out what you want that to look like and then start to take steps now to get to that place, to that ideal place with your work. So for example, when I was pregnant with Hudson, I had a home organizing business and I had a couple employees. And so once I figured out when I have a new baby, minimum, I'm going to want to stay home for 6 months. Like I'm not going to want to drive into LA and go into people's homes. So I started to work with my 3 employees then during my first trimester to pass on more and more of the jobs to them to get them comfortable kind of being the voice and the face of the business. And that worked out great. And then of course, when I actually had Hudson, all my passions shifted to what I'm doing now, to pregnancy, to childbirth, to writing. So my career totally changed anyways after I had him. But it felt really good to be making that plan for at least what my current job was when I was in my first trimester. And that reduced a lot of my stress as that due date got closer. Okay, staying on top of your prenatal vitamins, taking an omega-3 every day. If this was an unplanned pregnancy, then you probably haven't been taking prenatal vitamins. So if you haven't, I would get on that as soon as you possibly can because the folic acid, the folate that you get in prenatal vitamins is so crucial for the early development of baby in the very, very first part of the first trimester. So get on those prenatal vitamins as fast as you can. The omega-3s are also incredibly supportive. Read my book, Feng Shui Mommy. It is a holistic, very comprehensive guide to pregnancy, childbirth, and early motherhood. It will help you out with lots of to-dos, with dietary things that you can shift, relaxation, tools for childbirth. It'll give you pretty much all the information that you are wanting. And so reading that in the first trimester can help to guide how you navigate the second and third trimester and then early motherhood. All right, what else? All right, start journaling or seeing a therapist or meditating, something to allow you to step out of all of the like to-dos, like the nursery and taking prenatal vitamins and all of these very important to-dos, stepping back and looking at the bigger picture of how you feel about being pregnant, the good, the bad, how that looks for your relationship, just allowing you to get a little bit deeper into the emotions of this wild new journey that you're on. I enjoyed journaling, just kind of free flow journaling, writing whatever I was thinking. I've had some moms that found it so helpful to start seeing, you know, a counselor, a therapist in the first trimester to start working through different things that were coming up. Simply meditating, allowing stuff to come up, allowing yourself to process it, letting yourself go within, as scary as that can be sometime, it can completely transform your pregnancy experience. All right, and in that vein, starting a daily relaxation practice. It could be as simple as allowing yourself to take a nap in the afternoon, again, doing that meditating, having like a dance party, whatever you need to do that helps you shake off that stress, get into the present moment, something that gives you a break from any anxiety that might be coming up or any overwhelm for everything you feel like you need to do, and practicing that daily. Because if you start doing that now, then as you get closer to the due date, it'll just be second nature to practice relaxation during the day. And then that'll also really serve you when baby is born. Okay, continuing to exercise if you have an exercise program. So if you have something super regular that you do, most care providers will tell you that you can continue to do that unless you have some special circumstance that would make that dangerous. But most women, it's completely fine during the first trimester to continue exercising. This will help to minimize so many of the uncomfortable pregnancy symptoms. It will enhance your health, baby's health and development. So continuing to exercise. If you don't have an exercise program, talk with your care provider about starting a gentle program. That could be as simple as walking each day, going swimming, taking a prenatal yoga class, just starting to do something at least 5 days a week. And again, it does not have to be some crazy spin class or anything like that. It can be really simple. All right, and this one isn't that exciting, but it's important. Considering your diet, really looking at what you eat during the day, looking at different tweaks you can make. For most of us, I know I've always needed more veggies and fruits in my life, increasing that. So more leafy greens, more organic, you know, fruits, vegetables. Protein is incredibly essential during pregnancy. So let's see, eggs, chickpeas, lentils, cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, oats, those are all filled with protein. So really going about your diet with more of a plan. I know when I first got pregnant, I would just kind of eat whatever was around when I was hungry, and I needed a lot of help with that. And the more I paid attention to my diet and the more I was intentional about eating, you know, those fruits, those vegetables, protein-rich foods, the better I felt, the less nausea I had, the fewer headaches, the more energy. So putting the time and energy into creating a really healthy diet for yourself can really enhance your pregnancy experience. So those are some of the more basic things to start doing during the first trimester that can make a huge difference. If you have some other to-do that you did in your first trimester that really helped you, please let us know in the comments below.